Are you looking for a property in Durango, Colorado, or Southwest Colorado that can be used as a short-term rental? Now, there's quite a few neighborhoods and areas that don't allow that. There's quite a few restrictions on it. And so in this video, we're gonna go over those restrictions, those areas you can do short-term rentals in, but then we're also gonna answer a very frequently asked question of how do numbers perform in Durango on specific properties as well. We're gonna dive into the general numbers and then dive into some actual specific properties. We're gonna actually show you about 3 or 4 different examples of properties that are on the market today and actually break those down. We're going to show you pros and cons. We're going to show you the exact location of those, show you some photos of those, and show you some reasons why my clients didn't decide to make offers on them, and show you exactly how those numbers perform as well with projections from a local management company here. So I'm not just making up numbers. We're jumping into it right now. All right, let's start with a quick 10,000 foot overview so you have a decent understanding of the surrounding areas. A lot of my clients love this area, but they've maybe only been here a few times. So let's just start with that. So you've got in-town Durango, and I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about topography while I talk about the area. So let's start with in-town Durango as kind of the center hub, if you will. And typically you'll hear me talk about northeast, south, or west kind of as spokes right around in-town Durango. Then up above north, or the Animas Valley, you've got the resort mountain area. And that area is where Purgatory Ski Resort is at. Then let's kind of talk a little bit more about in-town Durango. Now, in-town Durango, fairly small. You can get to everything on a bike. You've got the Animas River Trail going right through the town. It's a very scenic, very amazing area. You've got ridges all around you. You've got amazing biking trails all around you. You've got some homes with stunning, epic views sitting up a little bit higher near the college, looking out at those La Plata mountain views. You've got just some really different, unique properties in and throughout in-town Durango. And a lot of those properties are within walking or at least biking distance of downtown Durango. We've got a video all about in-town Durango. So if that's something you want to look into, we'll throw up the thumbnail up here on the screen. Now let's jump down to South Durango. South Durango is an area where I would say a lot of my clients that are moving from out of town that really have that vision of Colorado don't necessarily gravitate to, because it's a lot flatter, a lot more of that kind of Southwest Colorado, maybe Santa Fe type feel. Just a lot flatter, but still some great views from this area. You definitely stretch your dollar a lot further in this area, and you have a lot more acreage type properties with some good water rights for the most part. Now, by the way, guys, as much as I love shooting these videos, I even love more helping you with your real estate goals. My name's Jon Burden. I'm a licensed realtor here in Durango and Southwest Colorado. And if you're even thinking about moving here, give me a call, text, or email, days, nights, weekends. Love to help you with all of your real estate goals. Let's jump back into the video. Now, this next part is a big generalization. We're going to be really quick with this because I want to dive into short-term rentals. You've got East and West Durango. I'm going to talk about these two almost together because they both have some similarities in that as you climb in elevation, about 8 to 10 minutes away from in-town Durango, on both sides, they climb in elevation up to about 7,500 feet and continue to climb. West Durango does get a little bit flatter, especially as you go south, but there are some really cool, amazing neighborhoods like Shenandoah or Twin Buttes. And again, I'm not going to hit on this yet, but a lot of these neighborhoods that are fairly close to town are in stricter HOAs that don't allow short-term rentals, but we'll dive into that later. Then going east of Durango, you've got a very popular subdivision, Edgemont. As you see homes in Edgemont, they are 30-day minimum as well. So I want to mention that while we're talking about East Durango. And just mention that as you go this direction, there's a lot of kind of ridge, not a lot, but multiple ridges on both sides of you. And so you get a lot less sun in this area. That's one thing you kind of want to watch out for. Still a very amazing area. Now let's dive into a little bit more about the specific short-term rentals and the areas that we recommend as kind of the #1 areas you want to look for. All right, now I'm going to get into the stuff you guys really want to know. Really the top 2 areas for short-term rentals that are going to perform the best. We're going to go over those in great detail next. And really the best area is going to be around Purgatory Ski Resort. So that's that mountain resort area. We'll put on the screen the distance from downtown Durango to Purgatory Ski Resort. Now, you don't necessarily need to buy right at Purgatory. You don't necessarily need to have a ski in, ski out condo, although all of those condos do allow short-term rentals. But there are some homes around this area. Lakewood Estates is one of them. This is kind of a little sneaky sleeper community, if you will, because the home prices are quite a bit lower than the surrounding areas. It's also quite a bit closer to in-town Durango than being all the way up by Purgatory. So that's one specific neighborhood I'm going to mention that I like to bring up to a lot of my clients. And keep in mind, a lot of these other neighborhoods that are around Purgatory in this mountain resort area do not allow short-term rentals. There's a lot of really exquisite luxury gated subdivisions that don't allow it. However, there are some nice little pockets, some great properties in there. And if you can swing the price point, a lot of these will perform pretty well. And now, while we're talking about Purgatory Ski Resort, I'm actually going to put up some numbers on the screen that I think are going to be really helpful for you guys if you're considering considering purchasing a short-term rental in Purgatory Ski Resort area. So I'm gonna look down at my numbers and read off a few of these for you, but basically your occupancy is looking right in between 30 and 40% in this area. You're kind of between that 90 to 120, 97 to 120 in those Purgatory townhomes. Then going up as you get towards like Kendall, Eolus, as you're seeing on the screen here. And so it's all in that fairly lower range. Of course, you're backing up to skiing. Regarding seasonality, this does really well in the summer as well, right? In that kind of July time is when it peaks. Then in those times when it starts getting cold, talking really end of October timeframe is really when you start seeing that dip. And then also really towards, let's say, March, April, that kind of middle season, that kind of shoulder season between spring and summer is also when you see that dip. And now that's going to be across the area in general. All right, I want to go back over to Lakewood Estates where I was talking about just a minute ago and actually show you some projections for a property that we recently sold in this neighborhood. Let's just give you an idea of what this home looked like. We'll actually put up on the screen some photos of this home. Really cool home, but not very updated. So it gives you a feel for what a home can do that isn't very updated in a great area that's close to Purgatory Ski Resort, has some amazing topography around it, really close to lakes. And this is 161 Hermosa View Drive. Again, as you see here, it's doing really well in July, June, July, August, kind of dips in that shoulder season, then does well again in the winter. And you're seeing that between 273, 344, again, about 35% occupancy. So a lot of you guys might be surprised at that number, but keep in mind, we do have some pretty big shoulder seasons here in Durango, so that is affecting that occupancy rate. All right, one more neighborhood I want to touch on that is absolutely breathtaking, probably my absolute favorite neighborhood in this mountain resort area is Lake Purgatory. So as you drive into this neighborhood, you'll see this beautiful, stunning lake on your right-hand side, and it does climb in elevation quite a bit. You do have a dirt road that is well maintained, but it is a dirt road, and you're at high elevation. So keep in mind, they do require chains. It is a little tougher access in the winter for sure. And so that is the con of this neighborhood. And some of my clients and some buyers that were looking at the listing that we had recently in this neighborhood didn't like the neighborhood for that reason. Now there are homes that are closer down where you don't have that steeper, and it's not a very steep road, but it just climbs in elevation. There is a grade to it. Just want to hit on some pros and cons of this neighborhood. And let's dive into the property that we recently had listed. We'll put up on the screen some numbers for this property. This property was listed just above $2 million. 742 to 967 is its projected numbers. 33% occupancy and 89 to 116,000 per year. Now my clients did have this property rented, but they were staying in it quite a bit as well. So their numbers aren't going to be as accurate as what you could get if you marketed it and had it on the market full time. Now, before we move on to a different area to talking about the Animas Valley, I want to put up on the screen a couple videos that we did all about this mountain resort area if you want to learn more about this area in general. Now let's move on to talking about the Animas Valley, one of the most coveted areas. This is north of downtown Durango by about 5 minutes to about 20 minutes. All right, the Animas Valley is arguably the most desirable area in the county to live, and it's also one of the most beautiful, stunning areas. You've got the Animas River running right through the valley. You have ridges on both sides of you. You got Missionary Ridge and the Red Crimson Cliffs on the west side of you. And you also have some great hiking trails in here. You've got 2 hiking trails going right up Missionary Ridge. Within 10-15 minutes, you have some stunning views of this area. And then you have some other great trails, including the Hermosa Creek Trail that's 30 plus miles long, as well as Jones Creek, some other trails going up towards Glacier and up towards Purgatory as well. I want to just start by telling you about this area so you know why you might want to invest in this area, especially for a short-term rental. And also so that you know why your tenants, your guests, are going to really enjoy this area, what those amenities are. A few other things, we've got some great restaurants in here. We've got Glacier Golf Course that's up the way about 10 minutes, and then you've got Dalton Ranch Golf Course as well that's right in the middle of the Animas Valley. You have Trimble, you have PJ's Market. PJ's Market is right in the middle, right next to Dalton Ranch, and that area has some great food options, some sandwiches, some grab-and-go items. They've got wine, beer, liquor as well. And then right across the street from there is the Durango Hot Springs that did a over $10 million renovation a few years back. It's absolutely stunning. They've got live music, they have a food truck, really amazing spot as well. So a lot of great reasons to invest in the Animas Valley. And again, you're very close to downtown Durango. Let's dive into a property. Let's look at 151 Locks Mountain Road. This property is still on the market today. And we're gonna pull up this property, show you some photos right now. Let's start with showing you the location of this property. We'll put on the screen the distance from this home to downtown Durango. Very, very close to James Ranch. We're talking a 30 seconds to a 60-second drive. The James Ranch, best burger in town in my opinion, and then really close proximity to Durango Hot Springs. And now let's go ahead and put up on the screen the numbers of this property. So as you're looking at these numbers, this property is fairly close to the highway. You do hear a little bit of highway noise. I'd give it a 5-6 out of 10 as far as that noise scale. It's not bad by any means, but it is there. The train does go past this home as well, and so there's not much noise at all when that train goes past, but I just want you to be aware of that as well. They've done a great job with this home. Furniture is really nice, shows really well, but it doesn't have a garage. It's going to be one of your cons of this home. Again, phenomenal location. Now from here, let's dive into talking about a few other areas. I'm actually going to dive into an area over in Bayfield in Forest Lakes. The next one is going to be 32 Little Bear Lane. 3-bed, 2-bath, 1915 square feet on about a half an acre. And this is over in Forest Lakes, like I mentioned. Now what's incredible about Forest Lakes, pros and cons for sure, and I'll go over a few of those. But what's amazing about Forest Lakes is you've got this amazing lake here, Lake Simpatico, that also backs up to a ton of national forest trails and hiking and biking. So you've got some great access there, and this is the biggest neighborhood in the entire county, in La Plata County. It has dirt roads. It does climb in elevation a decent amount, some roads with some decent grade to them, nothing crazy. So I've sold quite a few homes in this neighborhood. I've got some clients that live up high, live kind of in the middle, and a lot of them aren't too scared off by those roads. They're fairly gradual as far as that incline, but it does climb in elevation. To give you a quick example, the Durango weather guy, who is our local resource for weather, he has two different reports typically when he's talking about snow. He'll give upper Forest Lakes and lower Forest Lakes, just so you can get an understanding of that upper area does get a decent amount more snow than lower Forest Lakes, and just to kind of illustrate for you that it does climb in elevation throughout this neighborhood. They do get a decent amount of snow regarding snow, but nothing insane, if you will. It's not like they're up near Purgatory Ski Resort or Lemon Reservoir, for example. All right, now let's dive into the numbers specifically on this 252 to 294 per night, and you're looking at 38% occupancy. So you're seeing that slightly higher occupancy than those properties we looked at near Purgatory Ski Resort. It's kind of surprising because you're not right next to Purgatory. It is a further drive to ski. Now, the other thing I want to mention is as you look at this graph, you see a lot lower numbers, a lot lower nightly rentals in those winter months. Again, because you're further away from Purgatory, but in the summer it does surprisingly well. The only reason I say surprisingly well is again because you're further from skiing, which is one of the main attractions to Durango. Now, although numbers on this property are 35 to 41K per year, you're at a much lower purchase price of $699 on this one. Again, this is just a good example for you. If you're watching this in, a month or 2 months or longer, this might be off the market, and it might even be off the market when I release this video, just like the last one I spoke about. So keep that in mind. These are all good examples for you to understand that as you see these photos, you see these numbers, a home similar is of course going to get similar numbers as well. Now, by the way, guys, if you're curious about this neighborhood, I do have a video all about Forest Lakes. We'll put that thumbnail up on the screen right now. Very easy to search on my YouTube channel or just in YouTube. Type it in Forest Lakes, Durango, Colorado. That should pull up, or you can look in my playlist and look there as well. Now, before we dive into more details in this video, I want to give you a great resource we've been working really hard on. You go to our website, woosaproperties.com, WOOSA. We'll put that on the screen. You can go to the Communities tab. Then in that Communities tab, you can click on any of these areas in and around Durango. And first of all, you can check if it allows short-term rentals. We'll have it right there. Now, of course, this is subject to change, but as of now, this is accurate information. You can check what the HOA is, and you can see our video on this exact neighborhood. So as we're talking about neighborhoods, you can reference this. We'll try to throw up the screenshot of these videos on this video as well, but this is a great place to just go, look around, and really understand these neighborhoods, and especially see if they allow short-term rentals. Let's jump into the video. Now, one more area I realized I don't think I brought up is Tamarron. Tamarron are the condos within Glacier. Glacier is a private, very high-end, extremely gorgeous golf course up north of the Animas Valley in Durango. This is on the way up to Purgatory Ski Resort. Tamarron has a lot of units available, much lower entry price. You can get in here for $400,000 or $500,000 or even less, depending on the size of the unit you're looking at. We'll just throw up on the screen right now the projections on some of these units that you can get into. And of course, reach out if you have specific questions on these. I didn't mention this in the earlier part of the video, but more than happy to go through, shoot a good thorough video of these units or of any properties in and around Durango for you as you're looking at properties, and get you a good idea of what it's like, get you an understanding of, hey, yeah, there is some traffic noise, or there's this quirk about it, or this room has some weird smell. Just give you you all of those understandings of these properties. Now, one thing you do have to look out for with Tamarron, or not look out for, but keep in mind, is it's worth, in my opinion, getting the membership so that your guests have access to the pool, the gym. There's an indoor pool, outdoor pool, a gym as well. There's a sauna and cold plunge too. And those are really amazing amenities to be able to offer your guests. Let's talk briefly about the area and how I mentioned there's a lot of HOAs that don't allow short-term rentals. Now, it's very case by case. It's not like I can say, hey, this one area of town doesn't allow short-term rentals. It's very hit or miss with HOAs. A good majority, I'd say, of HOAs don't allow short-term rentals, but there are a handful that do. Pine River Ranch is one of them over in Bayfield. That's a stunning area that just started allowing short-term rentals. They have a river running through it with a pond as well. That's a great option if you want something riverfront that really kind of sets yourself apart. Then in-town Durango only has a certain amount of permits that they allow owners to have, and there's a very long waiting list to get a permit. So yes, you could buy in town, but it could be 5-10 years, it could be more, could be less, hard to really know. Now, as you get into that mountain resort area, like I mentioned, there's Lakewood Meadows, there's a few other areas without HOAs, but a lot of these neighborhoods do have HOAs. Then of course you've got Tamarron, you have Purgatory area. Other than that, there's not many homes in this area that will allow short-term rental. Now, we're gonna throw on the market report as of September 2025 on the screen right now. The main things I wanna go over is that in-town Durango dropped quite a bit year over year, and then rural Durango came up by 6.4%. Then if you look at luxury resort area or Durango resort area, you have quite a bit of an increase in the market, about 40%. Now keep in mind, that is only across 12 homes, so those statistics aren't the best because you don't have a really large sample size there. Now, real quick, I wanna dive into just some pros and cons and some things you guys really wanna consider. The first thing are HOA insurance rate hikes, special assessments, wildfire risk, rural infrastructure added costs like roads, snow removal, utilities. Then I also want you to consider something that you're probably already aware of if you're an investor, but if you're not, you might not be aware of. It's just that Durango is really not a cash flow market. It's really a market for big equity gains over long-term periods. So if you're willing to stomach a $1,000 loss, $2,000 loss every year, now I'm not recommending that, but if that's more of your strategy and you're open to, hey, I understand I'm not going to cash flow for a while with a good handful of properties here, but I know that this market most likely will go up in the future, that is a play that a lot of investors are using. Guys, if you're even thinking about moving to Durango or Southwest Colorado, give me a call, text, or email, days, nights, weekends. My name is Jon Burden. I'm a licensed realtor here in Durango and Southwest Colorado, and would love to help you with all of your real estate needs and love to talk investing with you or buying your forever home as well as selling. We'll talk to you guys soon. Looking forward to connecting with you. I'll see you.